It is in Bloomington. Indiana Hoosiers, 11-2 last year, like the belle of the ball. Everybody was talking about Indiana, whether you are a Big Ten fan, a curious Indiana fan, a curious college football fan, or a pissed off SEC fan. Indiana had a little something for everybody. Okay. Sure. They again went to the portal. The difference this time being that they were actually getting power conference starters to come in and play for this team, as opposed to a year ago where it was a lot of small school guys trying to get them to come up, see if we can get the most out of them. To Curt Cignetti's credit, I think he did that. He absolutely did that. That's the only way you can win 11 games and get into the playoff. There is enough starting experience on this lineup, I think, again, to make another run. I don't think they will, but there is enough here to at least give it a go. I love Fernando Mendoza. It's on
the record.
I do. I love the guy. I think he's incredible. He's a big kid. He's a legit pro prospect. I like pairing him up with Roman Hemby, who they bring over from Maryland to play running back. I think they did a good job improving the offensive line. They've got their top two pass catchers back. They're a little thinner at wide receiver, but they still have, I think, a fair amount of upside there. The offense looks loaded to me again. And I think there's a good chance that we see Indiana in a bunch of weird shootouts this season. I don't think the defense is going to be as good, even though they've got stars at all three levels. I think the defense, in all likelihood, takes a little bit of a step back. But
sure,
the offense is in a really, really good spot. The guys they brought in, I think, just relative to where they were at a year ago, you should have fewer questions about their ability to contend on this level. And I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know what it means to lose a guy like Atino Sunseri off the staff, turning things over to a new OC. But I like where they're at. I like the talent that's on hand.
To be clear, last year's starting quarterback Kurtis Rourke and this year's starting quarterback Fernando Mendoza are ready-made products. So he is not going to be tasked with, or the replacement for Tino Sunseri is not going to be tasked with, okay, welcome to school. Here's where your dorm is. Here's what time practice starts. Here's how you lift weights, right? None of that is applicable, which is great in terms of continuity. And they should be in a really good place. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but continue.
No, you didn't. I mean, I think all that's true. Now, the defense last year was actually, I think, more of the story, even though it didn't get all the headlines. This is the defense that jumped up 63 spots in the SP+. They finished as a top 10 defense. This year, they have three legit stars at all three levels. They've got Mikhail Kamara along the line, Aiden Fisher at linebacker, D'Angelo Pons is kind of like their shutdown corner. They do need to replace pretty much everybody else, though. And that's where I come down on the defense, saying,
sure.
I'm not sure the defense is better. It probably is marginally worse. But if your starting point from last season was a top 10 defense, if they were able to make that big a stride, I'm probably splitting hairs here. It'll still be a pretty good unit. They're going to be fine on defense.
They portal in key guys on defense. We'll see what that works out. You're right about the starting point. They were among the best teams against the run last year. They were among the best teams against the pass last year, which meant they were amongst the best defenses in the country in year one last year. So the proof of concept is there. Defense, obviously, you're dependent on talent. You're dependent on space eaters. You're depending on guys tackling in a scrum. You're dependent on, great coverage. You're depending on safeties, reading things, linebackers going sideline to sideline, of course. But again, that's the starting point. The starting point is confidence in what you were able to do in year one and getting buy-in because guys saw what Indiana was able to accomplish with no time. And so, yes, the schedule is harder. Yes, the schedule wasn't incredible last year. All of that is correct. But if that's the starting point for the defense, that there's buy-in, there's portal, there's development from the staff, and there's, attitude from Curt Cignetti on down that we're going to eat people. That's what we're going to do.
See, that's the other side of this, man. He brought a swagger. My hunch is that Curt Cignetti may not be the nicest guy to hang around.
It seems okay to me, but yeah.
But Curt Cignetti definitely has a pretty hard edge to him. And he came in there. I think he established himself right away on the basketball court. What did he say? Purdue sucks? Something like that.
Wasn't wrong.
No, he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong.
Last year, anyway. Yeah.
He came in like a ball of fire. He coached his ass off last season, and he got this team into the playoffs against Notre Dame.
Yeah.
It was an incredible first year, for Curt Cignetti. Now, the schedule's harder this year.
Of course.
You mentioned the Illinois game. That's a big one in week 4, but it's at home. They also are on the road at Iowa, on the road at your Oregon Ducks, on the road at my Penn State Nittany Lions. So it's a different conversation than a year ago for Indiana, where everybody was dunking on the schedule. The schedule's harder. Not the hardest schedule in the world, but it's harder. I still think this is a 9-win team. I really do. I think that week 4 game against Illinois is quietly a monster.
Yeah.
That more people should be talking about even now. Should be a ton of fun. But this is a 9-win team.
It seems like a 9-win team. It seems like absolutely a 9-win team that I think culturally has already taken a huge leap. And I don't know. There is something about this being year 2 where, yeah, maybe it's not where it was last year, but nobody knew anything about what this team was going to be externally going into the year. And now people are going to give Indiana better shots, right? Indiana's going to hold it more attention in the conference. But like, how many of these teams beyond, who did you say, Oregon and Penn State?
Right.
How many of these teams are truly built so that you're confident that they're better than Indiana? That's not something we could ever say.
Confident? No. I mean,
if Indiana is merely good,
yeah,
it's kind of just that Illinois game, which they play at home, being the difference between 9 and 10 wins.
In all likelihood, yeah.
It's pretty good.
They're in a good spot. I mean, talk about the modern experiment with using the portal to great avail to reboot a program very quickly. We'll talk about Purdue here in a minute. Purdue is, I don't think, going to be able to do what Indiana did last year, but whenever you take in 54 transfers,
that's true.
You're basically a shell of your former self. It's an entirely new team, an entirely new cast of characters. So Indiana,
is there one thing you specifically worry about with Indiana that you're like, I want to see this be addressed beyond obviously their losses? Is there anything that you saw out of Indiana last year where you're like, yeah, they're really good, but this was an issue?
I still at times question the explosivity in the passing game, which they were fine with.
That's exactly what I was going to say. There's just sloppiness at times. The drops.
Yeah, they were fine statistically over the long haul.
Yeah, totally.
But I'm thinking back to like some of the bigger games that we saw Indiana play in, notably that Notre Dame game in the playoff. And it was just like, I was never that confident that they were going to be able to go downfield through the air.
Right.
Even though they had a good quarterback and they have good receivers, but it didn't feel like a big enough threat to me that they were going to be able to win that game. So I'd point to that, and also just all the new faces on defense.
And it was both a torn ACL and like a broken thumb or something for Kurtis Rourke, if I remember correctly, because that's what he missed time with. He missed the Washington game, which they only won by 14 points, I think, with Taven Jackson. But yeah, you're not wrong. If they're able to stretch the field while working, I think it's Roman Hemby coming in at running back.
Love Roman
from
Hemby.
Maryland.
I like that move. I like some of these guys that they got. I think they did a really, really good job again tapping into the portal to get high level talent that can come in and play right away. Fernando Mendoza is a stud. He's an absolute stud, and he's going to show it this year on a better team. Everybody's going to see it. If you didn't know it before, you're going to know it now.
Yeah. No, I think Curt Cignetti is a businessman. I think he gets people in that corporate mindset of just take care of business every single play.
Yeah. He's the computer from the Bear. He's just emotionless, but he's looking at data and he knows what he needs to do next.
I don't know if I fully understand that reference. I haven't watched the current season.
You should watch the current season. I like it.
Is it good? Does it have a plot this time?
We just finished it. I liked it.
Okay. Well, here, the only Bear in question here is Fernando Mendoza. Cal Bear coming over to Bloomington IN.
That's a pro's pro over there in Chicago, Illinois.